want to bring the Charter Township Planning Commission regular meeting to order on this date of Thursday, December 16th, 2021. If we would please rise and pay our respects to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ed is our professional secretary on this commission, and I would like him to note the roll for this evening, if he would.
The roll's noted.
Thank you, Ed. Motion to possibly approval of the agenda from our last meeting.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda for December 16th, 2021, 7 p.m.
Support.
I have a motion by Mr. Knoll, excuse me. I think support was done by Ashley Ross.
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next we have anybody here from the public that would want to speak on issues. What? We got to do minutes first?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. We need a motion for the approval of the minutes.
I make a motion that we approve the Planning Commission regular meeting minutes of 11/4/2021.
Support.
I have a motion by Mr. Knoll and support by Mr. Spiz for the approval of the minutes of the meeting of 11/4/21. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Now we can ask for anybody from the public that may wish to speak tonight on issues that are not on this agenda. Seeing none, we're going to go on to the next with commissioners' comments. Let's start with you, Mike. We'll start down there.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First off, I'd like to thank Meg for all her time and efforts she put in on the Planning Commission and wish her all the best in the future. And then I would like to wish everybody Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Mike. Meg?
I don't know what to say. It's been, like I said, it's been fun. I appreciate the Township Board being willing to trust me with this position, and I appreciate each one of you as you've built into me as a planning commissioner. I've learned a lot from you. It's been a humbling experience to serve our community in this way. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much for what Mike said earlier, too. Kudos on that. Ed?
I would just like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and again thank Commissioner Knoll for her time here on the commission and to welcome our new commission member, Mr. Turner. And I didn't get to acknowledge Mr. Ross when I wasn't here at the last meeting. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Ed. Let's go down to Corey.
Again, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. We're gonna miss you, Meg. That's all.
Thank you. Ashley?
I will echo everyone's sentiments. I apologize because we've only had 2 meetings and we've
I
been this
know,
far
we know
apart,
each
so it was a pleasure to be in the room with you for a few weeks here.
Mr. Knoll?
I want to suggest we all have a safe and thought-provoking holiday coming up. We need to put those in need in our thoughts and prayers. Thank you, Meg, for your time on service to us. It's been appreciated. Just a little brief comment on the village. I sit on the Planning Commission for the village, and we're moving along with things in the village. We have approved some signage for the new bridal boutique that's now on 24 with the sign went up, I believe, yesterday.
Thank you, John. First of all, I want to really impose the idea of thanking Meg for being with us, because it's very hard in the community sometimes to find people that would help and volunteer their time to come and do what this position requires. It's not an easy task, and so we really respect the fact that you were with us, and we appreciate your help in guiding us along with your comments, and we thank you for that, and many good times in the future, and I hope it works out well for you. I want to say Merry Christmas to everybody that's here, and I hope you have a great holiday. It's been stressful around here lately. It's been horrific, and we're working our way through it, and that's all I have. Next on the agenda is public hearing, and the extent of the public hearing tonight is for the driveways within Oxford Township. And are you going to help us with that, Don? Or
Yeah,
gonna help,
I can provide a summary if you'd like.
Yes, I would appreciate that, please, and then we'll open. Well, first, we have to have the presentation by the petitioner, I guess, which is going to be you.
Mr. Chair, if I may,
Yes, sir.
do we need a motion to open the public hearing? or-
Not until after the petitioner speaks.
Okay.
So Don, if you'll help us with that, we'll.
Okay, Mr. Chairman and members of the Planning Commission, you might be aware that the Ordinance Review Committee has been hard at work and has developed some modifications to the current zoning ordinance regarding residential driveways. Specifically, what the ORC is recommending for its approval is some modification, especially in areas where there are narrow lots, where there are side-loaded garages, in other words, side entry garages. The township has had some issues regarding stormwater and access, and also especially for these narrower lots. So what is being proposed is some modifications that for narrow lots, 80 foot or less, that the requirement for the side entry garage be reduced from 25 feet down to 24 feet, and that for not lots that are 90 feet or less, the current ordinance requires a side yard setback of 4 feet, and that is being proposed to reduce that down to 3 feet. So with those modifications, it is felt that this will help the issue with stormwater access, and also the issue regarding the appropriate setbacks. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, or else after the public hearing.
I would like to have a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
We have a second then?
I'll second.
He's moving. Motion was made by Mr. Spiz to open the public hearing and seconded by Mr. Knoll
7:08.
at 7:08 p.m. And I don't know that we need a roll call for that. Yes, we'll take a roll call.
We need a roll call?
Yeah, we'll do it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, that's not a roll call.
Yes. Well, we don't need a roll call. We can just do it by ayes. Next would be, is there anyone here from the public to speak in regards to this hearing? Well, seeing none, then I would like to have a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
7:09. Second.
Motion made by Mr. Spiz and seconded by Mr. Knoll at 7:09 to close the public hearing for the residential driveways within Oxford Township. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Now we can receive comments from either the township's consultants or staff. So staff is us, isn't it? Or commission discussion is still later yet.
Yep. Staff would be.
Do you have any comments, Mr. Sharp, that you want to make?
I do not.
And I believe, Don, you've made your comments.
Yeah, and again, this is the situation involving these narrower lots and having the appropriate setback from the driveway to the lot line. It also considers the issue with these side entry garages. You have to have adequate maneuvering space. And then there were issues regarding stormwater that has come up from time to time where there's been some problems regarding stormwater that was inappropriately directed to neighboring properties. So that is the reason for these proposed text amendments, and our office is comfortable that with these modifications and then also with the modifications as suggested by the ORC, that if the Planning Commission agrees, these modifications then can be forwarded to the Township Board for their consideration.
Thank you, Don. Did everyone have a chance to then review the correspondence that was applied in their packets this evening? Seeing that we have, then is there any commissioner discussion involvement that someone wants to make comment on? Mr. Spiz?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one small comment. Having been part of the original where we changed it to 25 feet, I think these amendments are justified and I fully support them.
Well, thank you. Any other comments by any commissioners?
Mr. Chair, you know the comments, I'd like to make a motion.
I'll accept your motion.
A resolution for a zoning text amendment to the Oxford Township zoning ordinance concerning residential driveways. Whereas Oxford Township, the township through the Planning Commission and Township Board identifies a desire to explore revisions to the standard for the driveway in 3.8, Section A5, side entry garage driveway, and Section 3.8A6, driveway setback, in order to accompany narrower lots. Whereas the Ordinance Review Committee has prepared a draft zoning text amendment for the Planning Commission's consideration. And whereas the Planning Commission has received a report including a draft zoning text amendment and drafts from Zach Michelle, planning consultant, dated December 7th, 2021. And whereas the zoning text amendment process is outlined in the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act, paragraph 110 of 2006, and Article 18, amendment of the zoning ordinance. And whereas a public hearing for the zoning text amendment has been published as required by law, and whereas the zoning text amendment would apply throughout the township zoning jurisdiction, and whereas there is a compelling governmental interest to ensure the proper management of stormwater runoff generated by residential driveways, and whereas there is a compelling governmental interest to ensure residents are able to use their property as intended, common, and desired, and whereas it is recognized that there are areas in the township where lots are narrow and may pose challenges placing a side loading garage that faces the exterior lot line and associated driveway. And whereas the proposed zoning text amendment would allow flexibility of for a narrower lot while continuing to protect the health, safety, and welfare of adjacent properties, residents, and the surrounding areas. And whereas the proposed zoning text amendment would affect 3.8A, Item 5, side entry garage driveways, and 3.8A6, side driveway setback, and add associated graphs. And whereas the Planning Commission at its December 16, 2021 meeting held a duly noted public hearing for the purpose zoning text amendments and received no public input. And whereas the Planning Commission provides recommendations to the Township Board for zoning text amendments. Now, therefore be resolved, the Planning Commission by the majority vote at a duly noticed regular meeting held this 16th day of December 21st makes a favorable recommendation for a proposed zoning text amendment for the residential driveway to the Township Board. And be it further resolved, the Planning Commission directs Township staff to forward this resolution and the associated zoning text amendments to the Township Board.
Second.
I have a lengthy motion made by Mr. Knoll, which was all done very, very well in accordance with the wording that we should have had. And we have it in print, and it was supported by Mr. Spiz. I would like a roll call vote on this. Well, wait a minute. Is there any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, I would like a roll call vote on the motion that was made and supported by Mr. Spiz.
Oh, so now I'm up.
Yes, Mr. Secretary.
Commissioner Bailey,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Commissioner Knoll,
Yes.
Commissioner Knopf,
Yes.
Commissioner Spiz,
Yes.
Commissioner Hunwick, yes, Commissioner Berger.
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right. Next on the agenda this evening, we have unfinished business, which we don't have any unfinished business. So we move forward to new business. And with new business this evening, we have a preliminary site plan for a detached 7,150 square foot warehouse office building located at 3606 Thomas Road in Oxford, Michigan, parcel identification number, which on this document is 04-162-001, and the applicant is John Glinsky of 3606 Thomas Road, Oxford, Michigan. So I believe to start this plan, we should have, who's the petitioner for this? Who's representing, who is here to represent this?
I'm John Glinsky, and this is... I'm Barry Curry, the architect.
You're representing this? Would you please come up to the podium, sir? And tell us what you're trying to do here.
We're proposing a little over 7,000 square foot multi-tenant facility. It's basically it's an incubator type facility where, you know, one man company would be able to move in and have office space. Maybe 2 employees, but basically that's what it is. It's just for tradesmen.
And do I have the right plan in front of you tonight?
Yes.
Okay. So that is your plan that you're proposing?
Yes.
All right.
So this isn't a storage facility, you're indoor?
It's a place where a contractor could put his tools, his equipment, his stock.
So say an electrical contractor that's licensed and does business with his name?
Yes.
Or company?
Yeah.
Could have one of these components?
Yeah,
and he could have a place to put stock
Yes.
goods to work from daily?
Yes.
Would this include his vehicles as well?
Well, the vehicles will be parked outside, and, you know, we've got parking spaces for those. But there's no storage, there's no proposed vehicle storage inside the building.
Okay.
So if an electrical contractor wanted to set up shop there as an office and a supply depot for himself,
Yes.
that's what he would do there?
Yes, his wife just kicked him out of the garage because he didn't.
I see. All right.
Good analysis. Okay. Is there any planning commission members that would like to ask the petitioner any specific questions in regards to this site plan before we have our consultants get up and speak in regards to it?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to hear from the consultants first.
Okay, you want to hear from the consultants. Do you want to start with that, please?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Our review is dated December 7th, 2021, and this is a preliminary site plan review for the JT Electric building. And as the applicant mentioned, they're proposing a new 7,000 square foot building addition, which would be just south of their current facility. They are requesting preliminary and final approval. Our review, I wanted to point out that it does comply with all the setback requirements and the schedule of regulations within the zoning ordinance. We did, however, identify a number of minor items, though, that will need to be addressed. And these are itemized in page 9 of our review in terms of the summary. First of all, they need to adjust the maneuvering lane boundaries and mark with paint. No parking fire lane signs should also be added. The second one is that the site plan should be revised for the area north of the existing storage building to be paved for parking. I noted today that there's a number of employees parking on a grass or a graveled area that is not paved. That would comply with the ordinance, or the location is okay, but it will need that area where they're currently parking would need to be paved. The third item is that the proposed trash enclosure should be relocated or reconfigured so that it can be better accessed by the garbage trucks coming in. If they adjust the orientation of the dumpster, then that should be adequate. The fourth item is that the ordinance does require the number of employees, so that this would assist us in the determination of adequate parking. So the number of anticipated employees should be indicated on the drawings. Fifth item is screening around the proposed transformer pad should be added. Sixth item is an irrigation system should be added for the landscaping along Thomas Drive. And then those are the 6 items as indicated in our review. So we'd be happy to answer any questions regarding those comments.
We are in the process now of complying.
You have received the documentation that
Yes,
Mr.
we
Wortman's
did,
talking about?
Yes.
You've received those letters and received those comments?
Right, we've received comments from the lawyer, from the Sharp engineering
All right. We will still let Mr. Sharp speak yet this evening, but you have received everything that Mr. Wortman has discussed.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Sharp, do you want to make comments now, please?
Excuse me, Gary. Stand your podium. Yeah, planning commission members, this again was submitted for preliminary and final site plan. There are a lot of very ticky-tack items, I will call them, that in our opinion would not allow us to be approved for final. They would need to come back for some sort of administrative final, but we certainly would recommend that it be approved for preliminary at a minimum. Our letter is dated December 6th. You should have that in front of you. And again, there were several just general comments where items were, they're referring to entities that need to be changed, instead of the health department or something, it needs to be Oakland County Water Resources, those types of things. We have some issues, again, legal descriptions of what's shown on the plans not exactly matching. Some items regarding the septic fields and just showing those a little more clearly on the plans themselves. I would say that the two biggest items that we have on here were with regards to the storm sewer. The calculations that were provided are for a 10-year storm event, and it is required to be a 100-year storm event. We did some preliminary calcs ourselves in the office, and it looks like it will meet the 100-year requirement, but that needs to be updated on future plans. And again, there's supposed to be an 8-foot wide safety path that is supposed to be shown along Thomas Road as required by all site plans.
And your plans are the ones that are all redlined?
Correct. So we're the red lines.
I could go through the numerous pages of them because you had quite a few, but it's hard for me to pull it up on the screen in a scale that's, I think if I just show the idea that everything that you've discussed is actually redlined within those documents.
Yeah, we sent a red line set of the drawings back to the applicant.
Okay.
And again, we had some of the same comments that Carlisle Wortman had as far as relocating the dumpster, showing the zoning on the properties next door, adding the Sidwell numbers, those types of things. So again, minor changes. I don't think that it should be approved for final, but yeah, for preliminary, absolutely. And the items that they are presenting, again, it's not going to change the layout of the site or anything of that nature. It's more just cleaning everything up and coming back for, final, whether that be through the planning commission or whether that just be done administratively. So, that's really all I had. Is there any questions that anybody had on the letter?
I looked at the documents earlier myself and saw that you had a whole complete set of redlined items, and I thought there's a little tidying up left to do.
Exactly. They're not major items, but they are.
I appreciate your comment you earlier made that you said this is fine for preliminary site plan approval, but not for final yet.
Yeah, and I've been in touch with Gary and is it Peter? Also from their office, and
Yeah.
they're aware of it, and it sounds like they're going to, tidy everything up to be able to comply.
Yeah, we just have one issue not to get into, and the safety path at the north end, when the road cuts into our property line.
So that's really, again, a discussion that you need to have with this commission right here. We just note that that's a requirement of the ordinance, so the commission here should probably make that determination on the safety path, location, that type of thing. So you can bring that up with them. Thanks.
I know we still have Mr. Schultz, Pete Schultz, the fire chief. Would you please come up to the podium because you made some comments earlier in the meeting, and I know you have a letter, and I'm trying to find it right now quickly, but I haven't been able to find it in front of me. And I know you have a letter dated December 6th in regards to this, just to let them know that because of the new codes that are out in place right now, something that they might have to deal with to build this building on the property.
Right. The Township updated the fire prevention code this year and adopted the 2018 International Fire Code version. And in there, an article reads, an approved water supply capable of supplying the required fire flow for fire protection shall be provided to premises on which buildings are constructed. So anytime, anybody's put a building in, they've got to be able to have it. Be it from a fire hydrant sitting out front, from a water main, from a lake sitting on it, or someplace that we've got dedicated water source there. It could even be from a well that they were to put in on the property, capable of anything over 250 gallons a minute dedicated that we can use for water. They have a fire tank underground already, that's 20,000 gallons
Yes.
out in the front. The only difference is the tank does not have a keep flow or a well to put the water back into or to keep it flowing if we're using anything out of there. So the fire department's willing to look at it to, if there was a well on site that we can get water from, we will take that. If they're able to, they put a new well in for the new building, if they're able to make it a larger well capable of both of us being able to use it, and or have the well hooked up so that it could refill the existing tank that's on the property. So whatever they get with their well driller to find out what.
And do you know what the tank is on the property? or
20,000 right now.
You're current with that?
Correct.
Would that be sufficient for your needs to meet that requirement?
If we can get a well to have water to come back into the tank.
We would only need one tank then.
Yep.
Okay, so there's currently I'm sorry.
At what rate do you need that water to come back in to fill that tank?
It should be a minimum of around 250 gallons a minute to put water back in it, because if we're drawing water out of there, we're sucking out, 500-600 gallons a minute out of it, so.
So you're saying a 1,000-gallon tank may be enough then? Or may not?
No, the tank is a 20,000 gallon
Oh,
tank.
20, excuse me. I thought you said 1,000. I was way
You
off.
have less than 10 minutes.
I was gonna say, you don't have any water supply. Okay, that's what I couldn't figure out. I got it, now I'm caught up.
Yeah.
That was my problem, all right.
So again, like I said, it could be a combination. If they could put a well in that's going to feed the current tank with a keep fill, would be acceptable. Or if they turn around and put another tank in the ground, a new building, and or if they were to install a well that we could get water directly, we can hook up to our trucks to fill the trucks.
All right, so typically when a pumper comes out there, you got about, what, 3,000 on it?
2,500.
2,500, okay. So then you start with that, then you hook up, and then you still got the 20,000 for the backup to start with.
Yeah, the engine.
Do you want that tank to be replenished as you're pulling out?
Correct.
With a certain criteria to be met by gallons per minute?
Correct.
All right, is that suitable to everybody's knowledge and understanding right now? Because that is a new thing in place by ordinance and code.
Right, we would have to get with the chief to find out what size tank we need for if we decide to put another tank in.
Right.
We just have to, it's a price thing.
Okay.
We put another tank in, or we
Well, just so we're
redo the well to take care of the one tank.
I don't want to go all the way through a site plan and get approval to a site plan and then create difficulty on the construction activity for this site to then not make it happen. So as long as there's an awareness with everybody, the owner,
Maybe we
yourself.
discuss it with-
Yes,
yeah,
okay.
today.
Just want everybody to know. And thank you, Pete, for
I
bringing
just
that
want
up.
to, an additional tank will suffice?
Yes.
10,000 gallon, or 20,000
20,000,
gallon?
yes.
Would it need to be at least 20,000?
Yes.
Okay, and then with the 250,
With again, water going into it to help.
250.
But that doubles the amount of money that, or,
Yeah.
excuse me, gallons you can take out of there.
Correct.
Do those tanks have to be connected?
No.
No.
You can turn around, put it, right down by the new building, when it's installed there.
Okay.
And then I don't know where we resolve it when we come back, so I'll just have to discuss it with
All right.
him, which way he wants to go.
I appreciate your
And then the
comments
discussion
on
with
it.
the well driller, whoever does your well, you'll be able to discuss everything at the same time, so. Okay.
Okay.
What about the other issues he has?
You mean from the
fire department.
From the fire
The
department?
normal issues that we have for all of the, that building would have to have its own Knox locks on for the locks, which is normal on all of them. And he also showed that on the drawings already, but it had the fire lane sign shown on the drawing. That's what I'm saying, is, per the drawing. And then also the address has to be mounted on the front of the building too.
Well, that's a code requirement.
Correct.
And legibly displayed on the building in a commercial aspect.
Yes.
Yes.
This is non-residential.
Yeah, we
So-
don't use any old English numbers.
Well,
Or a little tiny number.
thank you, because sometimes people don't understand what that really means.
Yes.
Well,
And it
when
needs
you're
to be
trying to find a building
distinguishable.
going down the road, it's nice to have the
Yes.
Yeah.
address and all that.
Yeah. Is that gonna be a different address? It's still the same address though. isn't it?
No, that'll have to be a new address for that
There'll
building.
be a new address on the building, right? But
Yes.
that would be coming yet from you?
Correct.
Okay, so that hasn't happened yet then?
No.
Because the petitioner that applied for it is the address of this facility so far.
Right.
JT Electric.
Yeah, it'll be a new address for that building.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, any other additional comments in regards to
I
that?
just, if you have an issue with anything that's been brought up by the consultants,
No.
we're willing to address
We're
it.
willing to address everything, yeah. And I could say the only, is how we're gonna do the north end of the safety path.
What's wrong with that?
The road comes into our property line, so we won't be able to keep it off the road.
Is there a
if you look,
safety path in front of the existing building?
no,
So there's no safety path out there?
No, sir.
Remember. Okay.
That's just, coming off the road there, Thomas Road comes off on an angle, which people come in at a high rate of speed off there. A safety path in front of that road would not be safe.
yeah, because we can't get it far enough off the road to make it. Do you have
Bring 'em up.
a site plan you could bring up?
I don't remember seeing safety path on there.
Hang on, just taking a little while to roll back up there yet. I can just squeeze this one over if you want me to, like
That'd be
this.
fine. It was all we need.
There you go.
Okay, yeah, if you could, up there where the drive enters,
Right here,
yeah, that road, and you can see where
Thomas Road is.
Thomas Road and, the Thomas Road is that solid line right there.
Right here?
And that's our property line, the dash line going off to
The
the.
dash line is your property.
Yes, and then
This one
Thomas
right
Road
here.
is the solid line.
Okay.
It goes into the curb,
And, so this is actually your entrance point here.
yes.
Okay.
Is
But
there any,
the road is right here,
Yes.
right there.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
is there any safety paths or sidewalks that you could connect to on the
No.
north? Okay.
No,
I
that's
don't
all
think there-
residential.
There are zero safety paths out there.
It's
all-
So
I understand.
I've driven up and down that road numerous times.
At a high rate of speed.
Yeah, and the only, it shows it clearly shows a 30-foot wide paving, but it's 40 feet wide right in front of the drive right there.
Yeah, I don't really depict that on a drawing here, so I know what you're saying, but because really the road is down here when it comes in, right here.
Yeah,
And then it widens out a little bit right there.
right there, then if you
And then it
go up,
narrows, and then it narrows back out when you go back to the north. Right, it's just hard for me to get to it. Yeah, it shuts itself off right there. I get it though.
What about 24?
What about in 24?
Could they put it along 24 instead of?
Oh, that's an off-site improvement. I don't know about that right now. Let's be
Was there a
careful.
right-
Yeah, we
Isn't
did
that
that,
right?
we did the road commission.
Actually, if they,
Moran.
wait a minute, I believe and we're not gonna get into real lengthy conversation, but what the safety path ordinance stipulates, if they aren't able to put this on their property, what Mr. Sharp's talking about is they have to display a way to put it on the property, and then the expense of that is then calculated, and from that, they have a way that they can appeal to the safety path committee to then have funds put in the safety path fund in lieu of putting the path in on their property. So that's something that would have to all be discussed through the idea of whether they don't want to build a safety path or put a safety path in, or however it has to be done. And it has to be done within the context of what the ordinance stipulates. So Mr. Sharp brought it up. It's not on the plan. It's supposed to be on the plan as part of a site plan and by township ordinance. So that's how we have to leave it. And then the remedy has to come from the petitioner.
Well, we could narrow that section of the road back down to 30 feet, which makes it consistent with the rest of the road. And that would give us,
Those, I think, would be conditions that you need to think about and then discuss it and then propose something in the near future on how you want to resolve that problem. Or I guess make it comply to the ordinances of the township. It's the easiest way for me to say it. I don't know how to put it in another, because that's up to you guys now. That's in your hands. And Mr. Sharp brought it to our attention, so thank you. Any other
I guess I'm
commissioners?
confused. What's his remedy if it can't go there?
Mr.
Chair,
Spiz.
I'm not sure we're going to be able to solve that for them. We're going to leave it up to the experts to try to figure that out. But based on the information I'm seeing, I don't see how we can even come close to getting a final today.
No, we
But
cannot.
from a preliminary, I'm
we're
okay.
just going for a preliminary today.
Okay, from a preliminary, I'm good, because I think with the fire
That's-
suppression system alone,
That's where I'm leading, is preliminary only.
preliminary only and no way.
Yes,
final,
that's
we have to come
exactly
back
where I
with
wanna go
Those
with this.
answers,
Yeah.
including safety path.
There's
I
too
think
many
there's some
things,
that we work
too
on
many
safety
things to
path.
tidy up.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. Everybody on the right side of me good with those comments?
What about Mr. Sharp's recommendation that it could be done administratively, or does it need to come back from the commission?
Oh, I think it should come back.
I agree, I think
Yeah,
it's
I think so. Thanks, Meg. That's just my opinion speaking
My
right now.
opinion.
Sorry.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, come back for the final?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. Mr. Chair, I'm prepared to make a motion if you like.
Mr. Knoll,
This might, sit down, this gets a little long sometimes. The resolution for preliminary site plan for light industrial use submitted by John Galinsky on behalf of the JT Electric for property located at 3606 Thomas, west of Thomas, between Lapeer and 2nd, Section 4 of the Oxford Township, parcel number 0404162-001. Whereas John Galinsky, applicant on behalf of JT Electric, pursued the provisions of the Oxford Township zoning ordinance, submitted on an application for a preliminary site plan for JT Electric on November 17, 2021. And whereas the applicant submitted a 5-page site plan on November 17, 2021, with a last revision dated November 3, 2021, prepared and stamped by Gary Courier, a licensed architect. And whereas the Planning Commission has received a report from Zach Michelle, Planning Consultant, dated December 7, 2021. And whereas the Planning Commission has received a report from Jim Sharp, Engineering Consultant, dated December 6, 2021. And whereas the Planning Commission has received a report from Pete Schultz, Oxford Fire Department Chief, dated December 6, 2021. And whereas the Planning Commission has received a report from Susan Morris, Township Attorney, dated December 6, 2021. And whereas the property is located in a LI1 Light Industrial District, and whereas the light manufacturing and contractor establishments are permitted use in the I1 Light Industrial District, and whereas the Planning Commission has the authority to approve with conditions, or deny preliminary site plan for the industrial use. And whereas the Planning Commission at its December 16, 2021 meeting reviewed the applicant for the preliminary site plan for JT Electric and received no public input. And whereas the preliminary site plan, JT Electric meets or would meet with changes noted in this resolution, the standard of 12.05A through 12.050 of the zoning ordinance site plan approval standards. And now therefore be it resolved, the Planning Commission by a majority vote at a duly noticed regular meeting held this 16th day of December 2021 approves the preliminary site plan JT Electric for property located 3606 Thomas, west of Thomas, between Lapeer and 2nd, Section 4 of Oxford Township, property 0404162-001, to the applicant subject to the conditions listed below. A, the site plan shall be revised to address issues noted in consultant reviews at the Planning Commission meeting for final site plan submittal, and the preliminary site plan approval shall expire and be in no effect after 365 days.
Support.
A motion was made by Mr. Knoll and supported by, was that you, Ashley Rose? And are there any comments from any of the commissioners in regards to this motion?
Mr. Chair, the only thing I wish to clarify in this, we're using the current address for JT Electric until the fire department assigns a new address for the new facility.
But he is the current petitioner, right?
Yes, sir.
So that sounds
Yes,
fine. I would like to make one comment, and I appreciate Mr. Knoll for bringing it out, because it came out in the category of the letter of the township attorney, and I had missed that in comment to bring that forward earlier, and so that is included within this motion. I'd like to note that. Are there any current other comments from any commissioners? I would like a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Bailey,
Yes.
Commissioner Hunwick, yes. Commissioner Knopf,
Yes.
Commissioner Knoll,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Commissioner Spiz,
Yes.
Commissioner Berger.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Your motion has been made and passed, and now you got your work, you guys got your work cut out for you. All right, thank you. Next on the agenda, we have the 2022 schedule, and I guess thought I could pull it up real easy, and I thought I had it right in front of me, but,
Mr. Chair, if I may, while you pull that up, do we need to move to accept the schedule or recommend it to the township board? Or just receive and file?
we need to receive and file, but there's a correction that needs to be made in the schedule, and that's what I wanted to point out. I'm having trouble here, sorry, it's my first time trying to run through all this stuff. The January 13th meeting of 2022 is going to be changed to January 6th of 2022. Now that's the only change in the meeting schedule. So if you look at the 2022 meeting schedule, that January 6th date is a correction to the 13th, or a modification.
So then I'll move to receive and file with the amendment to January 6, 2022 date as part of the schedule.
Second?
I have a motion to receive and file by Mr. Spiz and a second by Mr. Knoll. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now, Meg, it's because we have you on the agenda as your term ending. We all want to give our gratitude to that kind of over again. I mean, we kind of did it previously, but I think, do we have to make a motion to accept this?
I think
Is
so.
that how this works here? I think we do, because they did it with Mr. Young, I think, didn't
We
they?
have to move to accept the.
Yeah, we have to move to accept. Oh boy,
Mr.
this
Chair?
making-
Except what?
Did you write
Resignation.
a
She's not
letter
resigning.
to Jack Curtis?
No, my
or-
term's just,
Her term is up.
Oh,
Yeah.
Your term is up?
yeah,
Her term is up.
Her term is expiring.
Yeah.
Thank you, sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So that,
So it's not a resignation.
it's not really a resignation, so
Right.
her term is,
I just let
She's just-
it be known I didn't care to be reappointed.
Thank you.
Not that I don't.
but do we, I don't know, do we need a motion? I don't think we need a motion
No,
out of
that's
that.
case.
So,
That's why, okay, I'm kind of learning as I go too sometimes.
We just have to cry and accept it.
Now, we also have on the agenda this evening, if we would like to talk about it, we have Mr. Turner in the audience tonight. Mr. Robert Turner is going to be the appointment to take Meg's place starting January 1st of 2022. So, I mean, everybody got introduced to Mr. Turner, but if you'd please just stand up one more time, come up to the podium, then we'll recognize you in regards to that, because you are on our agenda tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. I think that's all that has to be said. If anybody has any questions in regards to it, I'd be surprised. Now we need to reaffirm, we're just talking about these commission members and terms. I did have that somewhere hidden in here. Let me find it. I think I got it somewhere. Right here is,
it's on the contact list.
You
oh,
got it.
it's on the contact. There we go. Okay, we can kind of fit it in there, I think.
So I'll make a motion to receive and file the commission members and terms.
I'll second.
I'd like to make a note that my address is incorrect.
Oh, because you moved and bought a different house. So you're saying now that's not where you live anymore. What is it on Great Pines Drive? You're not on Great Pines, you're on the other road, aren't you?
I am.
Move down the corner.
Okay, so you're.
I can technically take care of that with internally. I just wanted
Okay,
to-
thank you.
You
Thank
noted
you,
that-
Ed.
noted
So
that.
we noted that you live in a new location. But now, who made the motion? I forgot.
I did.
Mr. Spiz made the motion and we had a second from someone.
I did.
We had a second from Mr. Knoll. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Now, for discussion, and this will actually happen with these committees in January, because that's when they happen at the first of the year. We've been talking back and forth, just to give some people a heads up, and I guess I got part of this crossed off here, don't I? In the gravel committee that John and I have been appointed to, when Mr. Young stepped down, I got appointed by Mr. Curtis. We have been on all those gravel mining operation sites in the Township of Oxford in the last 2 to 3 weeks with the levy group and with the Koenig group and whatnot, and looked at all those sites and driven on those sites. And so we have I don't know if we have a formal committee report yet, but right now I'm on the committee and Mr. Nold is on the committee, and we may feel that that's a good group to keep on the committee because of our experience from there right now. But as we talk and look at this, if people have things that they think they want to be part of, or
Yes, Mr. Chair, sorry to interrupt, but
yeah,
one thing I'd like to recommend is really just set this aside until our January 6th meeting.
yeah, but this is just for conversation.
Okay, just to give Mr. Turner a chance, because right now he doesn't have the opportunity to sign up for any of these because he's not sitting up here.
Oh, he's not a member.
He's not a member until the 1st, so realistically, you can't set him on the committee yet. So if we do it on the 6th, which I think would be okay, because I don't think there's anything critical between now and then,
I don't think so either.
that we can just put this on that agenda and have that discussion then.
I do have a question.
Yes.
For January, can we have dates of when these actually meet? Because I know that would at least impact what I would be interested in.
Times and days,
Times and days, yes.
like during the month.
It's gonna be tough.
That would be hard.
Or is there some, is it flexible? I just don't know. Okay.
Usually very flexible.
Usually what we currently do, and I'll just point it out, we currently send an agenda item out that can everybody meet on this date, and then we pick 2 or 3 dates and times that we could possibly make it happen, and then everybody kind of talks, that's on the committee, and then they all communicate. If it's Ed and John and myself, like on the Ordinance Review Committee right now, we go, I can be there, and Ed says, maybe I can't be there, but I can be there in this date, and then somebody says, well, I can be there in that. So we kind of make it work with each other.
With the exception of the zoning board of appeals.
But that's a different issue. The zoning board of appeals only is going to be established by the fact when somebody creates an appeal and brings it to the township, and then their dates are actually
They're set.
set.
Okay.
So those don't change
So I'd like to move this set aside or postpone
until January
January
6th.
6th meeting.
Okay.
That's my motion. I don't know.
I'll second that with one brief comment. I know that the chart's made here is for discussion. The Ordinance Review Committee, we are looking for an alternate. Meg was as an alternate, and that we would be looking for an alternate for that
Well,
committee.
we may have 1 or 2 alternates that we're looking for. We haven't figured that out yet exactly, so.
Okay.
And I'm glad we're discussing it and people have it in front of them to think about, because these are tough roles, and they require some time. And it's hard to fill them all sometimes, so I want everybody to think about it, and if somebody's interested, I would even appreciate those comments in January too, or even ahead of time. All right, so there was a motion to hold this over until the 6th of January, and do we need support? I suppose we do.
I did.
And Mr. Knoll, made by Mr. Spiz, to hold this over till January 6th, and supported by Mr. Knoll. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now we're getting down to, well, committee assignments and zoning board of appeals liaison. That's actually, that's all within this. That's all within these, that's in here somewhere, wasn't it? Zoning
Yeah,
board of
right.
appeals right there, rep and whatnot, so. That will be made in January also.
Yep.
So that's gonna be held over until that point in time for conversation. I don't think we need a motion on it.
No, of course.
And then we still had the, and if anybody has any discussion on it, I think when you read the bylaws right now, John had some comments he wanted to make on it, I know from an earlier conversation. But if any, so I'll open this up right now on the floor, and John, if you want to make your comments first, and then if
Sure.
anybody else has comments they want to make in regards to it, we'll go from there.
Commission members, we got involved with this, answering some questions in regards to alternates in terms of offices. And from that, there were some amendments that possibly could be done to this for housekeeping. So I would look at the possibility of making amendments to this document, and then have a red line brought to the next meeting, January 6th, with the cleanup. That would be a motion, and I can go into some detail in a minute.
I'll support it.
It's just a clerical, there's some number of situations, and there's some.
There was a motion and there was support.
Excuse me.
Mr. Knoll made a motion in regards to the rules and regulations and procedures of bylaws and maybe some amendments. It was supported by Mr. Spiz, All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Okay, aye. Now comments can be made in
We
regards.
noticed some irregularities within the bylaws, minor housekeeping, so we thought if we would redline it and bring it to the next meeting, then we could just clean this up.
Mr. Chair, if I may,
Yes, sir, Mr. Spitz.
who's going to be the gatekeeper of the red line, or do you want us all to red line it and bring it next meeting?
Zach was going to get involved with it. It's just minor issues. We were going to, for example, in 2.5, it talks about committees. They talk about a standing committee. We don't use the term standing committee. If you go back to page 4, item number 7 is blank. Item number 8 and 9 need to be changed in the numeric order. And there's a third one that memory serves me correctly, bills to be paid. On page 7, item 13 talks about bills. We don't discuss bills. So that's what I'm referring to.
Okay, I guess if Zach's gonna help, can you also let us know if there's certain areas of these that are statutory that we have to do in certain procedure?
Sure.
Because there's some, I mean, I would like to make some recommendations on the way some of the things flow. But if they're statutory, I don't wanna go against the statute, of course.
Yes, we, according to bylaws, we have to have it 4 days out. Cheryl always gets things out a week before. If it's red line, it'll be real easy to look
So
at.
give all of our comments to Zach as well.
I
Yes.
think a lot, and Mr. Spitz, I think a lot of the comments that you just made, there are certain rules under the Public Act of 110 that was established in 2006. So some of these rules are regulated by the MCL, the Michigan Compiled Law. But some of these, I think, are our rules too. So, yeah, those are good comments. I mean, if they're compelled to be regulated by law, then we would have to regard that as that component. But then if there's other things, yeah, we'll make sure we look at it from that point. But anybody that has a concern or comments, I mean, read the thing. I read the thing twice and I thought, well, it looks pretty good to me. At least it resolved my issue on how we can put people on committees, which that was helpful because I thought, my God, we're going to be landlocked if we can't, put people in places where we want to try and put people. So that's at least been taken care of, and we don't have to deal with that anymore. So,
Mr. Chair?
yes, sir.
I would guess, because 6 is right around the corner, that we try to get our information to Zach right away.
Oh, as soon as possible.
I'll let Zach know, Don.
Okay.
If it's coming
Is that
down the
possible for
pipe.
you too?
And I can contact him as well.
Okay. Thank you, Don. That being said, and where we're headed with that for the 6th, then, we're on to number 11, which is communications and committee reports. Honestly, I question who in the heck is even on the Economic Development Committee anymore, because I'm not sure I even know. At one time, it was Jack Curtis,
I might be the only one still here.
and I'm thinking you're the only one left, right? So before we go into this, that's one of the Economic Development Committee things of the PCs that we're supposed to have 3 members on. That's one of them we're going to be looking at in January. Because right now we have no reports, I'm sure, right, Michael?
Correct.
Okay. Ordinance Review Committee, I mean, I don't know, we could go on quite a ways with that for conversation, so we got to be careful here. We've been rewriting and definitely making amendments to the township ordinances on a pretty rapid basis. It took us forever to get through the matrix of what we're trying to do with all the zoning classifications and schedule of uses, but that has gone through the 2nd reading now with the township board, so it's well on its way to being adopted and going to be in effect with the community. It should really help us out immensely for people that want to come here and try and develop. Today we've had numerous conversations again with additional efforts that we're trying to rewrite and amend ordinances to. And what we're looking at are utilization of properties in accordance with the master plan that aren't currently zoned correctly for the uses that are on them. So we want to try and get those maps in better order, so in our zoning maps, so that the properties, some of them are even township-owned properties, that we have the right compliance, and those are going to be moving pretty quickly, John. Don't you think we'll have them ready fairly soon?
Yep.
And Ed was there today too, so Ed, you got any other comments you want to make in regards to that you know of off the top of your head?
No, just
Okay.
pushing forward with the zoning.
So we're still moving forward in the right direction from the Ordinance Review Committee. That would be all I have to say in regards to that this evening. I don't know, Mr. Wortman, if you want to make any comments from Carlisle Wortman Group in regards to this evening, but you're next on the agenda.
All right. Well, first of all, happy holidays to everybody.
Oh,
But,
thank you.
One item I did want to update the Planning Commission on is I have been principal in charge for Carlisle Wortman for Oxford Township since 2001. And as you know, I've been pretty much retired now. So Doug Lewan from my office will be assuming the role of principal in charge. Doug and I met with Supervisor Curtis this evening, and I explained to Jack that it's time for, I think, for me to step back further. This is not to say that I won't be back again. I told Zach and Doug that in the future, from time to time, if there's a meeting that I needed to fill in on, I'd be happy to. But I think in terms of more specific and direct responsibility, it's time for me to step back. So I really have appreciated working with you all. It's been a good run, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much, Don, for all your time and efforts here. Appreciate your comments. Mr. Sharp.
I've heard that from Don before. He'll be back. You've said that at least twice now, I think.
I'm like a dirty penny, you know, I just keep coming back.
No, it's been a pleasure working with you, Don. And Doug, I know Doug pretty well too, so he's obviously a good individual.
You'll be in good hands.
Yes, he will. Just real quick, I've had some emails and some discussions. I actually met in person with the representative from Clearview Homes. This is regarding Sanctuary Hills, which is the development that is on the south side of Drainer Road. They are going to be coming forth with their preliminary site plan very soon. So I'm sure that will probably be on one of your January meetings, probably the first, maybe the second one.
Is that going to be a site plan or a PUD, or do you know what yet?
It's, I believe it's going to be the cluster option is what they're going to do. So myself and Zach, we did a preliminary review, a preliminary site plan review. There were several comments. So in lieu of moving forward and coming to this body for approval, they wanted to get those items cleaned up first. So they never actually submitted it for the preliminary to you guys.
Oh, so that's why they held off.
They did.
Okay,
they submitted the documents, and they wanted to come with something a little bit cleaner. There are some significant items on there.
All right.
So yes, they have a testing plan that shows the overall number of lots that they're proposing, and then what they could get on the site, and then they're going to try to cluster everything up.
So Don, it sounds like it'd be a PUD coming forward to us.
So
I believe your cluster option is allowed under ordinance. I don't believe it's a PUD.
Oh, it's been made, so it may not.
do it as a,
Yeah,
okay.
you don't call it a cluster option. I think you call it like an
Open space, yeah.
something plan. I don't know the exact terminology. I'm just
Oh,
an engineer.
brother.
I don't know planning stuff. So, and other than that, obviously, I just want to say, it's been with 2020 with COVID, and then 2021, we thought it was going to be, couldn't get much worse, and obviously it has. But, remembering everybody and everything that's happened here, I want all of you to have a Merry Christmas too, and, keeping everybody, all those people in mind, but still enjoy yourselves. And, Meg, it's been great working with you for the last few years. So, hopefully 2022 will be better. So, thank you all.
I think we're all hoping that. Thanks, Mr. Sharp.
Yeah.
That concludes our evening for tonight, so I think we're ready for adjournment at, oh geez, what is it, 7:58?
It's actually